Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to Your View. It's World Happiness Day. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, World Happiness Day. We should be happy today in the midst of it.
I saw a video from Chudi Jidewo, and he was talking about, he has a project launching, the Joy Inc., that he'll be having daily vulnerable shows on TV. TVC is going to be airing one of his programs, and he's always been about, the past 3 years, about joy, about being happy, and he did a video this morning talking about the goofy things that we're supposed to do, that things that should make us happy, not clubbing, not going to parties, but generally just being happy from within, and it was really interesting to watch.
Right.
I didn't even connect it to that. It was
How are you doing, Noam?
Fine, because for me as well, I was thinking that, I'm not going to be panicking. I do not want to be part of the people that make people panic. This situation is scary in itself. And really, the fear comes more from knowing what to do, or, the information. Now that we're living in these times, what do we do? How do we, behave ourselves in this period? And I want to be part of those that would, sort of give...
breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Hope.
Take away the fear but we need information so that we can live without fear.
Well, I'm happy that Nima is on the show today because when Trump mentioned that chloroquine is a possible, antidote to this virus, I just thought of Nima. All this your concussion that Nima is so used to doing. Yeah. Maybe it's about, because actually, if we had actually done the research properly in Africa, maybe we would have been the one solving this problem from day one. Maybe we would have gotten this back. But because we never really give attention to the trees that we have, the natural resources that we have. But maybe that's why.
But to be fair, this virus is a new virus, so there's no way. But to have that, to be able to do research is important, yes. But I'm just saying, in connection to this particular virus.
Well, if I'd done enough research, would have known the moment it came up, would have seen all the symptoms. We have something that can do this. Would have preferred that solution early, and maybe many people would have died. But Nima, what your thoughts? How are you doing? So let me ask you how you're doing.
Today is Happiness Day. I don't want
you're
to
wearing a happy color. I love it.
Thank you.
Yes, yellow just gives
figures again, figure stitches. So when I got
figure stitches, when to have us all covered. Can't be Nima alone.
She's my sister-in-law. I've already paid my price. I've married her brother. So when I get home, I usually try to look within. The things that make us happy really are those things that we take without put value to, we take for granted, those things that we take for granted. So Imran's vocabulary always makes me happy. And last night he called me, said, Mommy, because he likes to cuddle. I was like, I just need to sleep, there's heat. So, Mommy, can I talk to you? I said, Can I tell you something? I was like, little children don't talk to Mommy. Don't have anything serious to tell. I said, okay, what is it? You see, I can watch TV and it's making me unhappy. I was like, vocabulary of my eventually. Like the English that
my kids like they said, Mommy, I'm so bored. So we got our Monopoly. And I started teaching them, Monopoly can be slightly complicated.
Did you keep them home? Are they?
No, they're home. They're in the house right now. Yesterday night we played Monopoly and I was teaching them how to, Monopoly can be very complicated. So after a while, they're like, Mommy, this thing is really boring. I said, no, you're teaching you how to become rich. Buy all the properties and you now become rich. And so whoever is who doesn't have enough money becomes the person that loses. So it was interesting to engage them. So today we'll be talking a lot about how to engage your family, your kids while you're home. But Nima, what are your plans for this weekend? How are you doing?
Oh yeah, I was supposed to go to a party and I'm not going again. But I'm not going again actually. Yes.
You can actually dress up for that party.
Take pictures.
And
say, I'm not going to the party.
No, just because you have to let the person know that we're in solidarity.
The party.
Why should I be? And you can dance in your house.
But yesterday, I went to my church. My church has declared, there's a press release, they said there's not going to be service going forward for at least going forward. So we did recording. So we did recordings, praise and worship recordings down. And I think we need to get, and I know a lot of Muslim bodies too are speaking up and saying, no Jumat today, everybody pray in your house. And I think we need to have that galvanized action. So
we'll still talk more about that a bit later. But let's just run fast. We'll come back, we'll go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So I'm aware that there's a press briefing that is scheduled for today in Abuja. I think the Minister of Health will be giving us an update, but once we have that information, we'll let you know. We're starting with the Punch today. Lagos traces 1,300 cases. As the confirmed case hits 12, FG shots, varsities and others. Italian who brought coronavirus to Nigeria recovers. Aisha Buhari shuts her office. UK returnee daughter self-isolates. Bandits kill 23 in Zamfara. Southern Kaduna fresh attacks. Oni, APC, trade words over Ekiti ex-governor's defection. Lagos explosion, another corpse recovered, 2 declared missing. Suspected herdsmen kill ex-governor's aspirant in Rivers. EFCC arraigned Saraki's cousin for alleged 221 million naira diversion. No makeup exams for UTME latecomer, says Oloyede. COVID-19, aviation industry to lose 160 billion and 22,200 jobs. And poly lecturers give FG 15-day strike notice.
So according to the JAMB registrar, he said that's Professor Isaac Oloyede, that there will be no makeup exams because students came late. There were some of the exams that were scheduled for as early as 7 a.m. I remember one of my girls wrote hers at 7 a.m. and she had to leave the house at 5. So he's complaining that students who came late and asking for remake exams will not get it. And you know that they're blacklisted certain CBT centers for, for exam malpractice as well. I also like to beg him to look at the Babcock CBT center where hijabites were made to take off their hijabs to write an exam that they have paid for. Videos have come to me, I've received it. I'll beg him as the registrar of JAMB, we know the protocol for that. As long as they are searched, they are free to go in. You can put your CCTV on them, but do not undress them lesser than the standard that they came for their exams. It's appalling.
And I'm sure it's implementation because it's been permitted already. So some people just been
overzealous. Some overzealous staff. And then there should be consequence when somebody does that on behalf of JAMB.
Yeah.
Yes. He's not representing JAMB.
Thanks for bringing that up. Yes.
Sad story again in Kaduna, Zamfara. I mean, everything is slowing down with coronavirus. You think these bandits will sort of slow down as well. So they've attacked 2 communities in Chikun local government in Kaduna State on Wednesday. They attacked one and then in less than 24 hours went to the next community. They burnt houses, killed 8 people in the first community, 2 people in the second one, rustled cattle, just the same mayhem that they've been dishing out to people. And the government, of course, has said we'll be on it, we'll find, investigate, and hope that they catch them.
Right.
So that's our story.
Yeah, we believe them. Moving on to the nation, 1,300 people under watch as COVID-19 case hit 12. These schools need to recapitalize. Stations yet to sell petrol at 125 naira per litre. 988 projects under wrong agencies, says budget. And finally, Oni, Fayemi's politics drove me out of APC.
When I saw the 988 projects, I just had to go and read it. So this is coming from budgets. They have a subsidiary called Tracker. And what Tracker does is to track projects that are that are budgeted for. They found out that a lot of these projects, a lot of projects that are called constituency projects have no location. So you can't assign money. And they said a total of about 2.1 billion have unspecific locations, so which means we can't trace this money to this location where this work is meant to have been done. And so he said this is unethical for democracy because it's depriving civil society organizations capacity to drill down on how much our money is being spent. They also have cases of where budgets are given to different MDAs, that's ministry department and agencies, to carry out projects that are not that constitutionally not their own.
Yes.
So you can't tell me as a water agency to do roads. And there are some misadjustments somewhere
it just looks
that
like
if somebody is not reading through, money will be flowing through, and we can't afford to lose money at this time. So I'm happy that Budget and Tracker are doing this, and I want citizens to also take responsibility of reading the fine prints because the budget is open to all of us.
They should please partner with the EFCC and the ICPC. We need to know exactly what our money is.
And trace that money.
The 125 naira per litre has not taken effect. According to the Major Oil Marketers Association, the Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria, they have reached an agreement with the NNPC and the Petroleum Product Pricing Authority Agency to begin importation of fuel and await that adjustment before they implement the 125
But if they increase
naira
it,
per
they
litre.
implement increase immediately. But
I remember
when
even saying-
immediately, once the press, before you got
As I said,
implemented.
I would like to repeat again. Go ahead.
According to their spokesperson, he's insisting that the pricing was arrived at without consulting them, that the federal government should have consulted them because they are businessmen and they've bought products and pegged their prices based on the factors that they suffered.
Anyway,
So,
as I said yesterday, I'd like to repeat again because we would like some questions to be answered. Some people have a school of thought that now that we're so used to paying 145 naira to the dollar for the petrol, let us, we're used to it. This is time to remove that number one burden of our Nigerian budget, which is the subsidy. We're spending trillions on subsidy. It's the right time, so don't give us this great gift of saying you can reduce to 125. We don't want to reduce to 125. Leave it at 145, remove subsidy, and then we don't let it deregulate the system. Now, we don't know that for a fact. That's what people are saying, but we're trying to bring an expert, hopefully next week, so to understand why can't we take this opportunity.
Who should we ask? Our Minister for Petroleum is the President.
NNPC. Let's ask the right
the Minister for State.
Oyebanji, the chairman of the major oil marketers,
can speak
also
up
come
for
Yes, so we're going to get somebody to help us understand and address that next week, hopefully. Let's move on very quickly to Daily Sun. COVID-19 fever. Scary National Assembly over status of 12 senators. Buhari's daughter in self-isolation. Lagos confirms four new cases. And the Ministry of Education orders closure of all schools indefinitely. Let's talk about COVID-19.
Yeah, so COVID-19, we have heard from the presidency through the President's Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Malan Garba Shehu, and he's saying no need to panic. We are on top of it. We have put restrictions on flights. We are on top of it. That is what our federal government is telling us. And we have heard that, I think the wife of the president tweeted about her daughter who came in and who has been who is self-isolating. So people are taking precautions here and there. So
like I said yesterday, we are on top of things does not mean anything. Except you tell specifically, we have gloves, we have injections, we have test kits, we have
centers, testing centers.
Specifically, don't say we are on top of things. That's just...
we didn't get to the satellite town story.
Very quickly. Let me let you go ahead.
The House of Reps have moved a motion to relocate sang farms within satellite town. And this motion was moved on the floor of the House by our own representative in
finally. Yes, finally.
Oh, no, Ogene Igo.
Oh.
Yes, the one for
House
Amu
of Rep.
Odofin for House of Reps. So he's moved a motion and he took complete, because I sat down to read it, complete account of everything that we have suffered there. He even counted the tank farms beyond my
Clap for your representative.
You might not say this wrong. This man practically said what Nima says every day, word for word, verbatim.
I'm telling you.
Back to back. It was as if he
watched the show
video Nima
and said,
and just,
I'm ready
which is
for
fine.
you.
We're okay as long as it gets done.
As long as they deliberate
As long
on
as
this
it's done.
issue.
So
Serious
we clap for Nima because your voice is
we
being
clap for
heard.
our
I'm happy.
representative.
Clap for our representative for actually
and
doing the
listening.
job,
Yeah,
which is
so
fantastic. So
Thank
well done.
you,
As long as
sir.
the job gets done, we
you.
don't really care who gets the
If you do
credit.
a good job, we'll praise you. If you do a bad one, we'll yab you.
Let's go on a break
Balance.
now, please. Just at the end of the day, just clear the tank farms. That's the most important thing.
Please.
After all the said and done,
Everybody should read
clear
the-
it for that neighborhood. Let's go on a break. It's Friday. We want to gist about celebrity because so many things are happening.
Yes, sir.
But this coronavirus matter will not let us gist because there's so many things happening. What happened with the senator?
The actors
Another
guild.
senator that was
Actors Guild.
Actors
the
Guild.
Patron.
The Patron issue that what's her name? Miss Dokubo.
Hilda Dokubo.
Raised that issue this week. There's so many things happening in celebrity, but we'll try to see if we can actually slide one in the midst of this corona. But first, let's talk about how you're managing, and especially now the children are home. What are you doing to keep them busy under this coronavirus shutdown?
Yeah.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So, as the COVID-19 virus is fast spreading across the world, each government has been forced to take urgent measures by declaring a stay-at-home for all. Major companies, however, are asking their workers to work remotely as a measure against the rapidly spreading disease. So we are asking, how prepared are Nigerians for this stay-at-home, especially when parents are having to go to work? And the kids having to stay home. You know, when it's the summertime, you understand that you plan for summer school. But now they're home. So we'd like to hear your thoughts on what you're planning. And also the fact that what measures churches are now saying you can either have, MFM has totally cancelled their services, 100%.
Totally cancelled.
But RCCG, my own church, is saying that we can have the house fellowships. no more major services. If you have over 50 people in your congregation, no service. If you have below 50, because there are some churches that do have below 50, you can actually continue to have your services. But those those beyond 50, stay in house fellowships for now, until you hear further notice, But in your view, how are you managing your homes now that the kids have to stay home and you can't even go to church on Sunday? What are you planning? Okay. Your own is Jumat today now. Yeah. So what are you doing? Okay,
so I have always exercised that discretion of female not compelled to do Jumat. Okay. I started when I went to law school. So
oh, really?
Up west here, yes. All of us used to go on Fridays. But when I was in the north, I started seeing women who stay home. I was like, you people don't love God like that. You people are not religious. So I read it up. And I called my dad and he was like, we used to do it so you guys would understand because it's tougher here to learn the religion. But it's not like you're compelled to, as a woman, because, Juma service are congregational services. So from then, I just do my khutbah at home, and I'm fine. Then when I came on Your View, I totally just stopped it because every Juma service I try to do in public places, I will not walk out of the mosque on time. But my husband has to, because he's male. And every time he goes like that, he would meet people and come back. And because of the COVID now, please, just stay home. Gufran is at school writing our final paper today. We've told them to module up all the exams for us, so we'll be at home.
Really? Ours was supposed to start next week, but they cancelled.
So I got a mail this morning that from our school, our kids' school, said that they would be collating the first assessment and the second assessment to wrap up as the total assessment for this term, and that people should just stay home after today. And I think that I'm happy when I hear schools doing that. But sadly, I must call out, I found out a school today, because they can't write the exams on Monday, are asking parents to bring their children tomorrow.
Saturday. Because,
we're looking for the loophole in the...
yeah, but you can also understand. You can't really call out. No, because some schools...
Mariah, the reason the government did this policy of saying shut down is to protect people, to avoid the touching. So it's not about the dates. Corona is in Lagos. Whether it is tomorrow or next tomorrow, what exams are the children writing? Why would you say you had scheduled exams for Monday, and because Monday is no longer visible for school, you not allow children to come to school? The same thing, everybody will now gather again tomorrow. It doesn't make sense. Some churches are saying, the pastor says, I have a message for the people. The people, God is going to protect them. Why? If the pastor decides to go spiritual, please open your eyes. The wisdom is for you to direct. Don't go to a church because it just doesn't make sense.
Well, for me, I'd been taking measures before Lagos State decided to take measures. So my children had stopped going to stadium because they used to go on Saturdays for taekwondo and football. We had stopped going to church. And the schools also said that today would be the last day. But tomorrow was supposed to be... Today is Friday. Yeah, but so they didn't go at all. So my son was actually writing exams. He has the last paper today. And I figured, what exams is he writing? He's in primary 4. It's not a life-changing exam. He will miss this one. His health and safety is more important to me. My children are so upset with me. My daughter says one of her classmates has a birthday today, so how am I going to get my own party pack? I say, it's better for you to be healthy. Better for you to be healthy than this party pack. So
that's party pack.
Oh, I'll get you a party pack.
But I took my kids. Samuel's birthday is tomorrow, and I took him to school today because he's been so eager to do his birthday in school. And we got to school today, and my husband said the class is empty. And I felt really bad, and it was like, I want to bring him back, but it looks like he's going to cry if I talk back, so I'll leave him in school. After the show, just take a picture with him in school so that he will feel like he did something, and then he comes back home, but I get what you're...
So secondly now, my mom is a nurse, and the way it's going globally is that a lot of people end up in hospitals. So you have these people, health workers will be in hospital probably 24 hours back to back. And I was talking to an auntie who lives in London, and I didn't even realize her daughter is in medical school. So they have also conscripted students who are in hospitals 24/7.
That's a government.
So they haven't gone home.
That's not
so she's like, we are fine, but pray for your niece. She's there 24/7. They have to be there. So, the message they're passing globally, which I haven't heard right now in Nigeria, is, see, we are the front line, the medical people, trying to protect, trying to treat. You guys stay home for us so that it does not spread. We're doing our part, do your part. So these churches and places where we are meeting 50 people. That's not the idea. So it's not the idea of 50 people. The idea is we don't want people congregating. And if you can stay at home, we're online for many things. I'm sure some of us have been online for church services before. We can stay home and let's just keep it low so that we can quickly get over this.
Thank you very much for bringing it up. It's not so much of the numbers. Because even if you're in a gathering of 5 people
and one person has, all of you have, and then you go, which is why the government was saying that.
Sorry, talk about the issues of the medical personnel being the first. In Lagos, like I mentioned yesterday, the Papa General Hospital particularly, and other hospitals. And in Abuja now, doctors are threatening to go on strike. Yes, these are our soldiers now. In this kind of war, we don't need weapons. We don't need the army. We don't need the navy. These are our army and navy now. I think the government, the way we put attention on the soldiers over the years because of the Boko Haram, should switch and put attention on them. They need their weapons, they need their jets, they need everything to fight this particular war. Let
me take this call from Kaduna. Good morning. Are you there, John?
Yes, good morning.
Thanks for calling. How are you protecting yourself in Kaduna?
We are trying all our best in order to make sure that we are not contracting from other people.
Okay.
But please, I want to speak on the issue of jump.
Okay.
Yes. My daughter, by start for jump, I registered for jump last year. On the day of exam, she had problem when she was doing capturing for the registration. And when she went for exam, that day, her hands were not detected by the scanning machine. So we tried all we could, and later they said that they are going to reschedule another day for the exam. She last year finished nothing. This year again, she registered. While registering, she had no problem with the biometric machine. And on the day of exam also, when the scanning machine was brought, she has the problem with it again. And now my daughter she's devastated and she's so worried about it. So JAMB needs to do something in order to make it easier for candidates. If they can input their exam number and see the picture and all the data are correct, let them allow.
So you're making this comment because JAMB. You're making this comment, John.
Anybody can have any challenge with the biometric machine.
Yes. Because JAMB said there's no receipting, right? That's the issue. So we need to find a way to.
And this is the second year.
They've always made an exception in these cases. 2 years ago, I remember taking it in the papers when they now rescheduled the exams. I think you should see whatever protest you have with JAMB or issues that you have with JAMB, you should take it to whatever authority that is highest. I remember my boy who had this same issue in Lagos. When I insisted, go to Ikoyi, he went and he didn't meet anybody. They said, go to Abuja, but he didn't want to push it further, so he just completely
to the highest
left
authority.
the exam.
Get your lawyer to write a letter.
2 weeks later, I now took it in the papers when JAMB was doing a receipt for people who had that kind of issue. So he had already left his zone before, so your complaint must go to the highest authority. If you have to travel to Abuja, to JAMB headquarters to make sure that this goes through, please do it for your child.
Is there any other way we can reach JAMB online?
Unfortunately, I can say it on authority.
Federal.
2 years ago,
the
Ikoyi office did not have any of this provision for JAMB students in Lagos.
Which is the problem. Everything happens at the top.
It has to go to Abuja.
And it has to be
they didn't do anything for them.
So unfortunately, we really hope that they're able to resolve it, and I hope that JAMB can consider cases like this and get them
second
to
year
schedule.
running, not unable to write exams, but as
going back to the issue.
Going back to the issue of coronavirus is the case of where we talk about 50, and we don't understand the impact of saying, but it's just a small gathering or just 10 people, is the impact of one person. One person, the second person. Lagos is tracking 1,000 people. That's already
1,300.
That's already a cumbersome task to do.
I wonder how they're going to do
and why is that is one person interacts. I've interacted with the 4 of you today. The 4 of you will interact with another like 4 people in the makeup room that have talked about how many people. And that effect is what causes makes it a pandemic.
The flights, let me tell you that the Turkish airline TK1830 and Lufthansa airline LH568, these flights, they're waiting for people to come and say, I was on that flight, or if you are already showing symptoms, alert the Lagos State government, because I know there are tweets, chats going on online. People are saying they're afraid. They don't want to go to that Yaba hospital. Say that place that the Italian wanted to run away. That I don't want to go and be confined
but it's
to
also
that place.
true because the facility is not conducive. However, self-isolate. Anybody that has come into this country from any country that has experienced this,
self-isolating is just the first step. The second step is if you show symptoms,
for
you have to
14
call.
days. If you don't have any symptoms in 14 days, then you know that, okay, maybe I don't have it, or maybe I am.
And I think we need to hear also from government, when they say self-isolate, what are they telling people? People also need to understand what it means to self-isolate. So I'm self-isolating, I'm in my house, am I just with my kids, am I talking to the help that goes out of the house? Do you understand? I think we need people, we define it and break it down for people.
Larry, are you there?
I am there.
Thanks for calling. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Igbaye, go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning,
Good morning, sir.
I'm happy to get through this morning.
Yes.
It's to have you.
I want to speak about COVID-19 and the issue of gathering by churches or mosques.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what is happening to our leaders, most especially religious leaders. I'm a pastor. And the problem, let me say, with apology to the state government, I think the problem is from the state government. The law should be totality. Even fight is even dangerous. If people should gather in the church, hello, are you there, ma'am?
We can hear you very clearly. Go ahead, please.
If 5 people are in the church, and one of them is a carrier, and he touches the chair, or he touches pastor, or pastor touches one, and touches the remaining 4. The remaining 4, one can travel to Ekiti, one can travel to Ibadan, one can travel to Kaduna, one can have a Muslim friend and say, let me after the church, let me go. So the government should be no gathering at all. Because I heard one of our religious leaders this morning said they should do it in the homestead, they should do it at home and the rest. Out of it, 50 people should gather in somebody's home. People not in a larger place. And one will be smaller. So if 50 people should gather in a smaller places, the rate of contact will be more. So
thank you. Thank you. We have to go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. But people are just trivializing it. You see somebody, they're laughing and giggling on papers, they're just laughing. Hey, COVID-19.
We also need to.
But the truth is that you must understand how serious understand what's at stake.
Let's not even die before death.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll have to bring in our celebrity guest. Hopefully, he has a few thoughts on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We have with us, well, actually, I'd like us to continue the conversation, but first I must introduce our guest, the Black Rider, Mr. Toyin Adebola. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Okay, so before we round up on this COVID-19 conversation, I'd like to hear your thoughts. What have you done so far to keep yourself safe and your family?
Well, if my wife had her way, I wouldn't be here right now. I mean, she's on lockdown right now with my daughter, and everything. So, but I'm just being very careful where I go. I make sure that my days are planned very carefully. I choose where I go to. From here, I'm going to work, basically. But even in the office, we're taking very serious precautions. You have to use a hand sanitizer before you walk in. We check your temperature. Which office are you going to? We mark. All those things. All those precautions have been taken.
Right.
And I know that even as the days unfold, maybe non-essential staff will be asked to stay home. It's definitely going to happen. Yeah. But I know that even during a crisis, everybody can stay home. There's no way. There'll be the police. There'll be the media. There'll be. It's news has to continue, information has to continue.
Or someone like you, that you're like a foreigner, you come in and out all over the world, you're traveling to London today. I hope you didn't just come back. Did you just come back?
No.
We're afraid of those of you that just came back.
I've not left the country probably since June last year, so you're safe.
Okay. Good. Or else we'll just move ourselves now.
I was just asking.
You're safe.
Any returnees now, I don't want to know. I just go back to hospital.
Yeah, true.
Someone just sent me a medical, the HOD for the pediatrics units at LASUTH sent me a message on the government's guide, which has been posted out on how to self-isolate. And she was saying, if you would please just let people know that if you're coming back from the country, the key thing is you must not have more than one person pick you up, the driver in front. No touching of hands with that person. So you do not sit in the co-driver's seat. Sit at the back. Avoid contact with the driver. Don't travel across states in Nigeria yet. And self-isolate during the period. Either you should not travel across states in Nigeria during the self-isolation period either until you're confirmed. Then how do you monitor yourself when you are self-isolating? It is key that you should when you're living with others, as much as possible, stay in one room. You should limit your contact with people, and you should avoid having visitors into that room.
Send it to me so we can reach it.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to share the app. We'll post it online to be on your view page and everywhere, so that we can protect ourselves.
And also, if you're going to a hotel, please declare to the hotel that you're self-isolating. So some families are rejecting. I just got back now. Please don't come to our house. Which
go to a hotel first.
So go to a hotel, but as I enter the hotel, let them know I just got back and I like to self-isolate, so they know your status.
They won't touch you.
They won't come and touch you. They want to do other room service. They'll leave it in front of your door. You pick up your thing. So at least be your brother's keeper.
And
pretty
a new
much.
Business can start self-isolation centers by the airports. Come and stay for 14 days at this price.
So I wanted to talk about being your brother's keeper, how important it is, because yesterday the news came from New Zealand that a Muslim left the quarantine to go for congregational prayers, and that in itself is sinful. So yes, congregational prayers for male Muslims is compulsory. But in every rule in Islam, and I've studied Islam well to know, because I majored in Islamic law, all the rules have the exceptions, and those exceptions are now the ibadah itself, that's the worship. So in this condition that we are now, the exception is that you self-isolate and social distancing and all that is the ibadah itself, because now you're looking out for your brother, you're being your brother's keeper. That's what is most important. For those who are reaching the fatwas, please read online now. As at yesterday, the gates of the haram was locked. That's all the Kaaba in Saudi was locked. So every of that, the scholars have reached their fatwas clearly. They've arrived at, they've researched, and they've arrived at those new jurisprudence for us to follow. Right. No need to have arguments. All those people that,
Okay, so we don't make this show again about COVID-19, because we're talking about COVID-19 all week. We'd like to, let's share all the, let's take a break, I beg. But the most important thing is that let's have the knowledge and continue to ask questions. Yeah. But we'll come to your interview a bit later, because there's a lot to talk to you about. Yeah. But first, there's something that happened this week that we thought it was important for us to bring to the fore, and that was the fact that the Nigerian Actors Guild, I think the Nigerian actors actually have kicked against the decision of the Actors Guild of Nigeria, AGN, to have Senator Abbo as their patron. Now, this move has caused quite a bit of reactions online, and I know you're an artist also, so it might actually concern you a bit. But the most important thing is that it was Hilda Dokubo that started, had a video on Monday or Tuesday that went viral. Kate Henshaw went on this did her own video. Quite a number of actors have done the hashtag Not In My Guild, the campaign that have started. But there's a pushback from northern actors saying that no, he's our patron. He has done quite a bit for the industry. So you have no right to say he cannot be a patron. And so there are different arguments, but the focus is where Hilda Dokubo was focusing on the fact that this man was seen as a woman basher, abusing a woman on video, although he apologized.
And an abuser of authority as well, because he also uses his police.
So does that man deserve to be the patron of the Actors Guild, where you have quality veterans, people who have been there for years?
Quality northerners.
People like
it's about being northern.
So does it deserve to be in that group? Although I didn't totally agree with the words she used, a sore thumb. Those kind of feels more crazy to describe him.
She's allowed.
I thought that was a bit insulting. But however, listen, it's her view. She's entitled to. But let me hear your thoughts before I come to you. I'll let you simmer on that first. But let me hear your thoughts on it first.
So for me, seeing this video, it had nothing to do about being northern or not northern. And I know that usually when conversations start like this, people would
throw that
up. If it's not religion, it's your ethnicity. That is what happens in Nigeria. So, but it will be really shameful for northern actors to think that this man is the best representation of the North. They are quality people who we see every day that can be a patron of this Actors Guild. What Hilda has brought to our notice and what Kate Henshaw is talking about is very important. We need to be able to hold people to account, hold them accountable for their actions. A lot of people in government, in politics, feel that they can get away with bad behavior. when they understand that Nigerians will call them to order, will call them out, they will behave better and will have better leaders and better representation. That's how I see it.
We forgive you, but we will not forget. And we will not reward you when you've done something bad.
Yeah.
So culturally and now, it's not culturally, culturally we banish evil and wrong actions. But in recent time, with modernization and all of that, because of money, somebody will come back, and I would always mention Body Judge. There was Ashwebi. I wasn't on TV. I saw people wearing Ashwebi to go and welcome someone back that was convicted for corruption. And I looked at it that how low is low? When would we realize the impact of us celebrating wrong actions by people? So I am all for forgiveness. He has apologized, even though they said, he read it in the papers, he might not, his words, whatever. Some people don't agree that the apology was real, but we are forgiving him.
Yes.
Yes, you are still a senator. But should we now honor him? Because when you put someone as your patron, it means you are honoring him. You are honoring his virtues. You are honoring his values. He represents what you are looking up to. If we're supposed to choose a patron for your view, it has to be someone of the highest self-value, someone that has discipline, someone that we would say, I want to be like you when I grow up.
Yep.
And that is the kind of person that should be the patron of the Actors Guild. So, except the actors are saying that we want to be like Elisha Abbo when we go up, then it just smells wrong.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, even Senator Elisha Abbo cannot choose himself to patron the day. I know in his heart he has conscience. I know in his heart, it's just these hungry people that don't have conscience. He has conscience. Because I remember growing up, the way our parents used to emphasize Bibire, Oshefowora, remember the daughter, people invested in their character. They invested in their name. My father used to look at me and say, if any of you shows up here, you will see. But I remember my mom, all those threats growing up.
Is it fair to say, no, I know you want, I know the point you're trying to make, sorry to cut you off. But is it fair to say that we're seeing Senator Abbo from a very myopic point of view? All we know of him is that he attacked a woman in a store. That's all we know.
That's good enough.
But there are people who know him in the north, because according to Emeka, I think it's Richard, Rollers, who actually he said that he was nominated by a panel.
Yes.
And this panel was from members from the northeast, for his contribution to their development, which none of us know about. We have no idea what he has contributed to Kannywood up north. So, yes, we have judged him based on this one act, but they are saying he's more than that. Yes, he has asked for forgiveness, and he hasn't been convicted. He apologized. Listen, so here, I'm coming back to you, Nima. So the point is that we are seeing him from this window, but others are seeing he's bigger than what you're saying.
I'm disappointed in that panel, because what he did was a crime. And it was a civil abuse of somebody's rights. This matter went to court. They did not allow it finish its time in court. Let the court reach a conclusion. Let the court award damages to that young lady. Let them say this and that. Not the way we flout political connections and kill things. Yes, we know she must have been bought over. And that in itself is another abuse of his office and his personality and the opportunities we have given to him to become a representative of the people in Adamawa. So if assuming the court had this matter had ended this time in court, everything had settled because the court had said, okay, you're not guilty, these are the circumstances, we will now respect it. But at this point in time, killing it halfway in itself talks about his integrity.
Let me come to you. So you've heard both sides. So in your view, because you're so many things, you're a black rider, you're a musician, you're an oil and gas, but now as an entertainer, you said you have both sides. How do you think this should have played out?
Honestly, in my opinion, and I speak for myself, they say a chain is as strong as its weakest link. Now, that chain doesn't have to be a bunch of people. It could also be one person. A lot of times, especially when you're a public figure, that moment of weakness is the litmus test of your personality, of your character, especially in public. Now, I don't know this guy. I don't really know him but you see, if it was something that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago when he was somebody in university, he had taken drugs, he was like whatever, or he was younger, it's a totally different conversation, not something that happened in recent times when he's in his office. So the conversation changes now because of the time that this thing happens. Now, there's been very, very relevant, very important points raised around this table. And the thing that strikes me is she's very right. All these sentiments that come up when significant moral questions are asked should be a concern for us. Because you don't say it because somebody did something wrong. It's okay because he's in my party. It's okay because he's of my tribe. It's okay because he's of my religion or he's contributed money. He did something wrong. He abused the right of somebody publicly.
So, talking about ethics, and I'll come to you, Mariam, what is ethically right? According to what Emeka is saying here, that the ethical thing for either Hilda or Kate or whoever was concerned was to write to the guild. You don't go on social media and say, he was a sore thumb in this list. So it's easy to sensationalize the entire experience and say, yes, we're going to let this matter go viral. But the right thing, the right process, write to the guild. It is totally wrong for you to bring this man as a patron. Is that not the ethical thing?
That was carried out by Kate Henshaw.
So
Kate Hensshaw's video detailed that she reached out to this guy.
After Hilda's
that was Hilda's video, but Hilda's video was Hilda's video.
Okay.
Kate Henshaw's response was Kate's response.
Okay.
After reaching out to this man 3 days without getting a reply, she now did a video because there was no reply.
Because he went on TV. He went on an interview on TV.
But did she tell us that she wrote
out
to him, or she just sent a video, or she sent him a text message? What exactly?
How
did she communicate?
She sent a text message. She said that she sent a text message and she had a chat that I want to have a conversation with you. I want to have a conversation
on
with
this.
You. On this.
Okay. So there's something that also happens where sometimes when we're talking about something very important, we now go around, right, what should you have done? And then take away our focus from what is important. And our focus right now is who should we put to represent us? I understand the place of forgiveness, of asking for forgiveness and being forgiven. But also we need to know that this person that, that as is described in the North, what he has done, he did it before he became patron. So that means that is what he does. But when you now decide to make him the face of something, you need to be careful. Not because he, as a person, is all bad, but we are sending, this world is just all encompassing. When we're having conversations, we're teaching children too what is important. So every day on one end, we're talking about rights, women's rights. We're asking men to protect women. And then on another day, we bring the person who represents publicly, unfortunately for him, because it was on video. People saw you abuse someone. So for a lot of people, publicly, that is what they will associate with you. And he also made a point about when it happened, how long it happened. If it was something he felt punished, it was so long, I had to step down because of it. People understand. I served my time, but it just almost seems like we've given you like a reward for bad behavior. So the timing is quite wrong.
Let me chip this in, because one of the things that the response we got from the members that support him being the patron was that he's been very supportive, quote and unquote money.
You don't know that. Don't
that was the support in Nigeria.
You see, I don't want
to no, Morayo, I want to play the other scenario. The other scenario of another very supportive person, Wadume. We remember, it was in the papers that was a very
Robin Hood.
He was a very generous person to the society. He was poor and then he became rich and he was blessing people. He was giving people, only for us to now find out that how the money was kidnapping. And that also happened. So when we now say that, but he was nice,
he was a very supportive
he gave us the pumping machine, he sponsored the movie, so we should forgive him.
Can we say that is a reflection of our society?
Obviously,
a group of people
something we don't want
because you
anymore.
have a guild. A guild is made up of at least quite a number of actors.
20 years old guild.
So they have members. So somebody is in a panel and they're from the Northeast, and I can also understand where the guild is trying to make sure everybody is well represented in the country, which makes sense. So you've nominated Mr. Woman Beater, Abimudan Slapper. Okay, can you share with the other members? Okay, are you guys in support of this? Or we say we don't care what you feel. It's only whatever the panel says that we are going to appoint. So there's it's just a reflection of how we are as a people.
In fact, in the whole of Adamawa, we now look. There's nobody again.
Support for the industry, Lima.
It's the same thing.
It's support for the industry.
Same thing.
Let me take this call. Good morning. We have to wrap up. Are you there?
Good morning, Morayo. My name is Reverend Dominic.
Oh, Reverend Dominic, welcome. Go ahead, please. Good to have you.
Thank you. Morayo, please, I want to talk about COVID-19.
Go ahead, please. It's your view. Let it count.
Please, I'm watching you now with all the information you are dishing out.
Yes.
Me, as Reverend Dominic, having a first-class at-hand information about hand issue. Morayo, I went to customer market yesterday. I had to turn back because there's a human traffic there. Who is talking to our market women? Who is talking to our market brothers? When you are talking to you restrict school, you have street church. But where are people cluster every day? In fact, you see food displayed on the road, the akara, the biscuit, the carrot, right on the express road. And this human traffic and everything was going on. Who is talking to market women? The question is this: are we ready to fight this scourge if it gets out of hand? That's my contribution.
Thank you very much.
So let's tweet on that.
Wrap up. Yes, I know that
the messages should be in their languages and it should be done in the marketplaces.
But they're talking to them. I know that the women leaders of all those markets have had meetings, and there are pictures on Twitter showing that they've had meetings and how.
So it will take time for the information to go around, but at least their work is built. So we have to wrap up on this issue of Actors Guild, and I'd like to, because when we come back, we'll now focus on your own interview. But what's the way forward? So people are clamoring for him to be removed. Others are saying, especially from the north, they're saying, no, if we remove him, we'll secede from this guild. I mean, I don't want us to be the one to decide, to be the judge and jury in this. But in your view, what's the best way to amicably resolve this issue?
I'm not even going to speak for the guys in the north or the guys in the west or south. I'll speak personally to this gentleman. I would step down.
That's what I was going
You see, personally, anybody who is involved in governance, policy making, we and our children and the entire world is looking up to you. Whether you are governing in Nigeria, in the United States, in Rwanda, it makes no difference. You're a role model, and you said something very significant. What will our children think? Today in the age of social media, I mean, we're talking 10, 15 years ago now. I mean, when everything you do, nothing escapes the world anymore. It's a global village, it's a flat table.
Right.
Every single thing you do, your name is out there in seconds. Our kids are saying that. Your kids are saying that. The people that we interact with all over the world are saying that. If we endorse you, we're saying bad behavior is right. It's what we're saying as a people. So it's not for me. That's my opinion. Fantastic. I mean, the guys in the north. I would.
Thank you so much. You have a few tweets, Nima? Or we can go.
No, we can.
Okay, let's run up. When we come back, we'll now discuss about this your Black Rider movement. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
music with a message.
Oh my goodness. I haven't heard good music in a while.
A long time.
That's good music. Yes. Cobams did that beat?
Yeah, he produced it, yeah.
Oh my Lord.
On that
Where have you been all our lives?
Yes, all our children's lives.
Jeez.
We cannot play better songs, but
goodness. He's a multi-talented singer, you can see that. He's a songwriter and an avid motorcycle adventurer, better known as Black Rider. His passion for music has birthed 6 studio albums. He's known to be a man very famous for his philanthropic deeds. Welcome with us again, Toyin Adebola. I also hear that you're into oil and gas. So you're making oil money. One human being. Oil money.
Well, you see what's happening to oil now, $24.
Yeah, but still, you're still making some trouble. I heard that. But tell us about this music especially. I mean, who wrote it? That was you?
It was Kobams, myself, and one other guy, Chella. We wrote the song in the studio together with Kobams. He produced this. Wow. So I was on his... Okay, go ahead.
The inspiration for the words, the message.
Okay, for many years, I was born in the North also. So I grew up in a community that rode motorcycles. So that's why motorcycles are part of my life. But I also grew up in a family where my parents, I'm the first of 10 kids.
Yes.
My parents drummed in my head responsibility from when I could think. Honestly, so from 7, 8, 9, I was already babysitting, 4 of my younger ones. So eventually when music was my friend growing up, and then eventually as I grew up and came to Lagos, growing up, married, kids and everything, I found that what I grew up with from my mother and from I pound yam, I make soup, all those things. My mother made sure I did all those things. So I found that it turned into a culture of responsibility in my life, so as I grew up and I had this passion for music and motorcycles, I said to myself, I need to find a vehicle through which I can speak to people about these things, about being responsible. And I started riding all over the place, from Lagos to Ilorin, Abeokuta, then we started going to Abuja, all over the place. And I said to myself, look, there are over 200 million people riding motorcycles in the world for 2 reasons, either for transportation or for a hobby. I'm doing the 2. But at the same time, I think I can also use this medium as a tool for social change. And that was how I birthed a concept called Out of Nigeria. And Out of Nigeria was all about using music and motorcycles to show the good side of Nigerians. I'm very well traveled, and I know how people see us. First time I got into France, I was held for like an hour because they were saying, oh, is this your first time in France? Where have you been? You know, all those scrutinies. As a Nigerian, I can go to only 40 or 41 countries on my Nigerian passport, and most of them are like small countries that are disjointed all over the place. As an American or an European or Australian, you can go to over 100, maybe like 150 countries where you get visa on arrival. But it's all because of how we're seen, how we're perceived. You know, and I said to myself, if I just went on TV or radio, whatever, I just started a movement, or I started talking about, oh, let's change the image of Nigeria, let's teach our kids responsibility, let's help the next guy, as Toyin Adebola may not be able to do anything. But because music is such a powerful medium, and because the bike, I mean, you ride a bike into a place, everybody's staring.
Yeah.
So I said, I have these two. I can use these two to build the table of my own messages. Fantastic. And that's what happened.
So you just applaud everything.
So you've really touched the core issue for me. And I would like you to address parents who think it is disconnected when you insist that a child must be responsible and not entitled. I have a boy I have to take to school every morning, on my way to work every morning, and we are every day clashing. I can't stand certain things that he does. And I'm wondering why. Growing up, like you mentioned, even though I was a third child, it was norm that you would serve. Your neighbor is coming from work, you can't be sitting with your mom, the person is carrying load. But these days it's normal. They even greet you and pass. Someone even saw me, auntie, welcome. And you know, those days you dare not sit by your mom and an elder is carrying something. Why is that? How did we lose it? And how can we really, really bring it back? From raising children personally, or looking at your neighbors or mentoring your neighbors? I
think all of us are in the same category because I also have two kids schooling in foreign countries, in university. And I have a daughter also here that I struggle with these things all the time. But what I've come to realize is it's always the parent against the world. Why I'm saying that is simply because let us not forget this. You see, back in our days when we were much younger, I mean, the world was different. What we consumed in the media was different. I mean, back in Kano then, TVs came on at 4 o'clock, turned off at 12. And you were left with your parents, where you were left with the community. But now there's like streaming, online, TV, 24/7, feeding us with cultures that are very alien to us. And our kids, most of the time, because of how difficult, the economy is tough. So both parents have to work, and you leave your child most of the time in the care of the nanny and the TV.
Yeah. Yes.
So they're constantly imbibing things that are alien to us. But there's almost very little we can do. But the little that we can do can be strong enough in the sense that from when they're kids, a lot of times when they've started developing or gaining independence, it's tough. But from when they're children, you have to just teach them. There's responsibility. I fight it's a daily battle.
Okay, let's come back to your music.
Okay, so you're not a young person, obviously. You're young. But like, the age we have in the industry now, we have like people like 15, they're already like 18. And I see that you've decided to get your career on track, get sustainable income, so that you're not hungry, and then use music as a tool to pass on a message that is strong. And many people are in that space thinking, oh, it's too late for me to do what I really want to do. Maybe I wanted to sing, I wanted to act. Maybe, how do you keep your passion as well as fund your everyday life? Because there are many irresponsible men hustling after becoming celebrity and artists, work and feed their family. What's your message to such?
It's very simple. For a long time, even I was a church musician as well for some time, but I said to myself, if I continue in this path, I don't think I'll make the kind of money or earn the kind of living to sustain my family. My wife is a very ambitious person, very.
Please.
I know. Yeah.
So she's probably watching now, but she inspires me, and I say to myself, instead of just going on a particular course and fighting her, let me rise to the point where she also looks up to me. She has to.
I want to upload everything. He's still talking.
Anyway,
to rise to that
she has fought her way in a very tough man-dominated world where she's at the top of her game. Right. And I don't fight that. I learn from it. Okay. So, and I say to myself, if I wait, so from the very get-go, I said to myself, Toyin, you know what, leave your wife aside, leave the kids aside. build you. Fight.
Oh, Lord.
You know, so I went and I got a job. I started building a career in a particular field that was of interest to me. So I started building, working hard, making connections, working hard, making connections. My wife doesn't need my money, but I still give her money every month.
Hey!
You know, so
Wait, they are listening.
Are they listening?
you know,
So that doesn't need your money and you still
oh,
give her
absolutely.
money.
I behave like she's not working. I know she has to support the family because I mean, look, things are really tough in the world as it is.
Yeah.
I can't do it by myself, but I don't say, oh, because you're working, I'm leaning on the fact that you're
Let me
working.
let you pause because another wanted to get something in.
Yes, because you see, for me, a lot we sit on the show and we hear stories that are heartbreaking of how men are threatened by a strong woman and how they feel like, I'm not going to even let you get a job because you might get arrogant. And I'm hearing you and I'm wondering, we don't have enough of this.
This is
so
Nigerian made. Let us even make it
can we chunk it down in a way men can understand? Because you're speaking now and someone will be saying, oh, she's saying what they want to hear. But the reality is you found inspiration in the strength of your wife. You're not intimidated by her.
Thank you for
the problem
breaking it
is
down like
that
that.
most men are intimidated by their wives. How can a man build himself so that he would see the wife as an inspiration, not someone intimidating him?
And your wife now respects you to that point where she's even looking up to you. Hey, but boy,
Let me use an example.
Yeah.
You see, we're sitting on the table. The top of this table is holding our phones, our lovely cups and stuff, and we're seeing that just a tabletop. I feel that men need to understand that they're not the top of this table. They're the legs of the table. The day you understand that, you will stop struggling with your wife. You stop struggling with your brother.
Who raised you safe?
I'm telling you.
No, and I'm not saying this because I'm on radio or because I'm on TV. I have people know me. You can find out. You talk to my wife. Find out from my kids. Find out from my friends. I let people live their lives, and I support. If my wife says I want to do this, go for it. I want to do this, go for it. I can't judge you. I didn't make you because the day.
Let me pause you for a second. So if the man is the leg, and for whatever reason the leg is either wobbly, is not strong, you are saying that you can there are activities you can do to strengthen that leg to support your family.
Absolutely.
And that journey for you?
It was tough. Look, I dealt with a lot of insecurity. We fought. You know, a lot of times she has to travel, she has to do this. We had issues.
Right.
It's normal. When you understand that these things are part of life. Wow. You see, this is a person who was born just like you were born. And don't think because, okay, she's married and she's taking your name, she should suspend her destiny because of you.
Hallelujah.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's not...
The blood of Jesus. I don't know. We just want to say one.
How many years have you been married?
25 years.
Some wisdom come with years.
No,
This year has actually...
Your mistakes have been made, you've perfected them.
Yeah. Look,
Why did you not want to be like your father? Because all our daddy, my father cannot take that.
no, but you see, the thing is, I think my dad was different. He had problems with my mom. He married somebody else, but the family broke up. But look, he was never somebody who stopped my mother from what she wanted to do. And maybe that's where I got that from. My father never beat down my mother on you. He actually inspired her. She wanted to be a nurse. He said, go to nursing school. Till she rose to be a matron. She retired as a matron. My father never once said to my mother, you can't go this way or you can't go that way. She's a hermit. My mother is like, she self-isolates even when there was no COVID.
So let's be sure we get the meat.
Yeah.
So there's a family now. Madam is a high flyer. She's bringing out all the money. The man is feeling very insecure. You're saying, put wife on one side, leave everybody. Think of what you have interest in. Go back to school, possibly. Build yourself.
Absolutely.
You got a job.
Absolutely.
You got a job first.
Absolutely.
After you got that job, tell us the journey. After you got that job, what happened next?
It was tough. I started with jobs where they were paying me 50K, 25K actually, 25,000 way back in the years, then 50,000, whatever. Then it came to 100. So I said to myself one day, you know, because in 2000, 20 years ago, actually, I think, 2005 or so, I went to the US and I was trying to sell my albums and I tried, trying to promote just hustling. And people were telling me, Toyin, change your status, whatever, and then eventually bring your family. I'm like, Omo, I don't do things like that. If I want to come to America and stay, I'll have to go back to America and come back legally. So all that while my wife was here with the kids, struggling, building her career. So I said to myself, guy, go back to Nigeria. Take a job, no matter how little they pay you, build yourself. So I came back in 2005. And for 7 years, I continued, but it became a hobby for me. I needed a job. I needed an earning where I can say to my wife every morning, listen, every month, this is food money, this is for fuel, this is for this to pay. No matter what, start from somewhere and build it. So I knew I had to remove my view from looking at her and thinking, oh, does she respect me? I knew from day one, respect is earned. You can never, no matter how much money you have, you can never buy respect. You can never beat it. You can't impose it.
You can't force it.
You can't force it. No, people
can't command it down.
It won't work. It won't be genuine. You can either buy bling bling or you want the real stuff. I want the real stuff. And the real stuff is when people say to you, take. I needed my wife to say, you know what, take. So I said, I have to earn it. This year, May 13th, will be 25 years we'll be married. I've known my wife for 28 years. And those 25, she has her testimony. It's been rocky, but we're both solid people. It's as simple as that. It's simple. Hold it together. For the kids, the day that I knew I was doing something right was when I was walking my daughter down to school. I think it was 5 years ago. She was in school in London because I transferred my wife to work in London for some time. So I went to visit. And I was walking my daughter to school. And she said to me, Dad, when I'm facing very tough challenges or when I have exams and I'm scared, I take the sleeve of your album and I look at my dad and I say, you know what? If my dad could do it, I can do it. I mean, so that's
unfortunately, we have to wrap up.
Can I just put one last one?
But I have to ask you I have to ask you what you're doing because it's important that people know what you're working on so that we'll bring you back for this.
No, we have to.
Let's bring you back.
No, we have
but tell us what you're working on right now so that people know. Aside from the album.
As Black Rider or
as Black Rider, all of the above.
No, I work. And from here, I'm going to my day job. I have a day job. And then I'm building Black Rider because for me, it's my tool. It's a passion project for me. I spend my money on Black Rider. I used to host a musical concert, which I've done for like 12 years. I'm going to host another one this year, where I spend my money on it. So I earn my money to spend on things. You know, I need to work, earn it, and then build it. So I won't have this music. I won't have the friends that I have. I won't have the family that I have. I won't have the relationships that I have. If I wasn't a hardworking person who goes to work every day doing his best, my employers are happy with me. I hope. You know, but I do my best to earn money so I can.
Okay, ask Lemara through this in.
Tiny one. See, you're just a whole, knowledge and wisdom and everything. I see what some Americans do, black people who are doing well. So they bring up young American men and sit them down and talk to them. And coach them. Is that part of what Black Rider does?
Absolutely. Now, there's up until last year, there's a Bostal institution in Ilorin. It has. The first time I went there were like 400 young people. It's a prison for young people. For young men. In Ilorin. So my younger brother was living in Ilorin, and we adopted that institution. So we go there with our bikes, we speak to them. We started doing a training for them where we teach them how to, separate engines and stuff like that until it became politicized. I stepped back a bit.
Can we greet your parents?
Honestly, you know what? We are definitely bringing you back. Because a lot of Nigerian men need to listen to you. Understand? Because you will help a lot of families.
Please, you have friends like you too. So that
have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. Finish the show.